Both sides are saying it was a success, but wasn't last night's meeting between National and the Maori Party more about saving face? Well, with me now is co-leader of the Maori Party, Tariana Turia. Good morning, Tariana. Thanks for joining us. So, no apology, but you knew you weren't going to get one, did you?
Well, we weren't expecting to get one. We think that, like ourselves, the Prime Minister is entitled to say what he likes.
Of course. However, positives have come out of the meeting?
Yes. I think the important thing for us is that we didn't want to see another foreshore and seabed where the government legislated to take away the rights of the people. And so that was a key part of our discussion last night.
And that line from government saying it won't legislate over Maori rights and interests in water is the reassurance which you've walked away with?
Absolutely it is, because the issue has never been about ownership. The issue has always been about Māori rights and interests, and we want to make sure that the general public know that.
Now, the Maori Party's come under some pretty scathing criticism over this from within Māoridom. The Maori Council co-chair, Mana Paul, saying the party's been virtually useless at representing Māori. Has the outcome of this meeting done enough to appease and start bonding within Māoridom?
We have huge support from within Māoridom, and in actual fact we have been flooded with phone calls and emails from right across the country saying that they believe that our role and our responsibility is to sit at the table of the government to advance their interests and aspirations, which is what we do, and it's not easy. But however, we have an arrangement with the government where we agree to disagree. We don't support asset sales, but we do have a constructive relationship.
Where does this leave you over National's position, where they have effectively said that they will ignore the findings of the tribunal if those findings don't go in government's favour?
Well, what we've agreed is that when the tribunal comes out with its report, that in fact we will sit down together and have a look at the report and make decisions then together.
And if they continue to say, look, we're going to ignore the tribunal's findings, what position do you take then?
Well, when they're saying they're ignoring the tribunal's findings, it's because the focus has been on issues of ownership, and that is actually not the kaupapa that is before the tribunal. We got that from Suedi jury yesterday. He was very clear that what is before the tribunal is about the rights and interests of the various tangata whenua throughout the country.
And that's also been outlined. We had May Chen on the show yesterday talking about that as well, saying that's the focus of the tribunal. However, this concept of rights versus ownership, I mean, this is effectively being misunderstood, is it not, still? Because so many people, arguably the majority, see the rights as interpreted as ownership and therefore as almost the commercial right in order to be able to benefit from that ownership.
Well, I don't think that that's how Māori people see it. If you look at the Tainui situation, where we have legislation that affirms their rights and interests in the Waikato River, nobody has missed out on anything since that decision was made. And in fact, what happens is that there is a governance board that is made up with Tainui interests represented, and it works extremely well.
Tell me about your relationship now with the National Party. From last night, would you say it's stronger or weaker?
Well, we've always had a constructive relationship. We've always had the right to agree or disagree with one another and behave respectfully with each other. We believe that will continue.
Yet this may be quite a long process, is it not? Let's say that we get to the stage of this going into the courts, maybe even to Supreme Court, which it arguably looks as though it may well do. How much strain will that put on the relationship?
Well, I don't think it will put any strain on our relationship, because at the end of the day, the most important thing that our people have said, they do not want to see another foreshore and seabed. They do not want to see a government that rides roughshod over a result that they don't want, and they do not want the government to legislate. We have that agreement.
Absolutely, you do now that there's been no legislation over Māori rights and interests in water. Thank you very much, Tariana Turia.
Kia ora.